All right, we'll go ahead and get started in the interest of making sure we have time to answer questions if need be. Oh, I gotta find a spot that's not there. Okay. First of all, welcome and thank you so much for coming tonight. We're excited to have such a big turnout. This is probably some of the biggest we've ever had some gathering here, so this is exciting. We're glad to share this exciting and just this information is pretty special, I think. This is not an opportunity that all high school students have, and so we're just glad you came out to hear this tonight from us. I'm Haley Gordon. I am the Director of Curriculum for 612 ELA and Social Studies, and one of my hats I get to wear with that is being a part of our gifted program. And so I'll be delivering this information to you along with the help of these wonderful ladies who I'm also going to let introduce themselves.
I'm Carrie Edmondson, and I work here at Richmond Community College, and I work closely with them. I'm the Dean of K-12 Partnerships at RCC. So if you just choose to do this and qualify, then you'll work with me to get all the things implemented that you need to be able to take college classes.
I'm Sharon Stevens. I am an ALG specialist at Rockingham Middle, Hamlet Middle, and Cordova.
Hey, I'm Nikki Covington. I am the AIG specialist at Richmond Senior High School, the early college, at Ellerby Middle School at the Ninth Grade Academy.
So if you're here tonight, it's probably because one of these, our AIG specialists reached out and asked you to come. And so again, we're just excited about presenting this to you. So if you have any questions, feel free to jot them down. All the information that's going to be up here on these slides is also in the handout that you were given when you came in. So we'll try to answer any questions that you have as we go along. Okay? All right. Okay. So why do we even have this opportunity in the first place? That's just kind of the overview that we'll start with. This does stem from our Senate Bill 366, and this has been around since 2019. Okay? And so what it does is it allows freshmen and sophomores, your students, to take these college transfer courses if they meet their established requirements. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about, are what are these requirements and what happens as a result of being able to take them. So I think this last bullet is important, that students who successfully complete these college courses can earn college credit after they can use after graduation from high school. So a lot of times, and this is what a lot of our students end up doing, is they earn those dual credits, meeting high school graduation requirements along with those college courses. So anybody know what that does for you as a parent if they come out with these dual credits while they graduate from high school? Yes, it's going to save us some money, right? So that's really important for us as parents thinking about making some future plans. So how does my student get to participate in this? You're probably here tonight because you have a student that's been identified as academically or intellectually gifted in English, reading, math, and that's been a part of working with our specialists here to make sure that can happen for you. We want to make sure that you can demonstrate college readiness in English, reading, and math by meeting benchmarks on diagnostic assessments. And what does that mean? You don't have to worry about it if you know exactly what that means. We'll make sure that they're checking those off, and you also have a list of what that is in your handout. So they have to be approved by the State Board of Community Colleges. We want to make sure we have a recommendation. All right, and there's a couple different ones of those that can come from, one from the high school principal, and it's just basically verifying that we know and we can attest that your student is mature enough and can handle the college coursework, because it is different. It's different from certainly different from being in middle school, but it's really different being here at the college level. Those expectations are high, okay, and that would be a conversation you want to make sure that you had with your student as well. There's some more in here that talk about the recommendation of your AIG coordinator and the recommendation of the community college president. So we also would like to get consent from you. We want to make sure that you know where your kid is and what class they're taking during the day, and that we can support you, get the support there you need. And your student, this is really important, your student will participate in the academic advising focused on being in a college course. All right, it's their responsibility at that point. And so we want to make sure that they're prepared for that before the classes even get started. Okay, so some of this may be a little bit foreign to you guys because it's just not in the language that you talk every day, but we will be happy to answer any questions you have about it. But these are some of the tests that can be taken in order to make sure that they are college ready, that they're ready to take these courses. And you have those listed on your paper there. Okay, so these are just some of those options, right? And I won't go through all of that and read all those to you because you guys can do that. But again, if you have a question, we'll be happy to answer it. Okay? So what does that look like? How can we get these tests taken care of, and how are we going to make that path happen for your student? This is kind of a recommended testing path that we've come up with, we make happen in Richmond County Schools, and that we found most effective to help get these students ready and placed for taking these courses. We usually recommend that you take the pre-ACT in the fall, spring, and there is a $20 administration fee. If you're close to meeting the criteria, you're going to take the tab placement test. That's specific here to RCC. And it's independent from Richmond County Schools. And then, if it's not quite where you need it to be score-wise, then we say, you take the pre-SAT in the fall, and all rising 10th graders will have the option of taking the pre-ACT in the fall of their sophomore year. Okay? And then a final option would be signing up for an SAT or ACT to meet that criteria. Anything else y'all wanted to add about the testing process?
So where it says TABE placement test, it changes from year to year. It's not even TABE anymore. You just it's the RCC placement test. You'll work with us. You'll work with us to take that test. But again, that is your last option to. It can't take place of those other tests. That will be your last option. And I do want to chime in when it comes to taking a college class before you're doing this.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So again, there's different options out there, and you'll be advised on what that path is. We're not going to leave that up to you to just try to figure it out. I promise. Okay. So here's some upcoming dates that we do have available if this is a plan that you're thinking of, or you're thinking that this might be something that your student is interested in. Okay. And so it's by grade, right? So that was something that Ms. Stevens pointed out. We have a kind of different collection here than we normally have. So raise your hand if you're here with an 8th grade parent or 8th grade student. You're a parent or a guardian 8th grade student. Okay. All right. And then so the rest of us are 9th grade. Got some 9th grade parents in here? Okay, good. So you can see it's different depending on what the grade level is here, what you have offered, okay?
And that is different because if you are in the 9th grade, then you will be able to take it. If you meet the qualifying scores on those tests, then you will be able to take advantage of Career and College Promise first semester of your sophomore year. It's different if you're an 8th grader. If you are an 8th grade student and you don't go to REACH, if you decide to do dual enrollment, then you will actually start second semester. So I would meet with Ms. Odom, the guidance counselor at 9th Grade Academy, and have your schedule positioned such that you could go automatically into second semester taking college and career promise courses. And we'll reference that again in a moment.
Yes, thank you very much.
We set that the 8th grade date as late as we possibly can to give you as much opportunity
to get as much Math 1 up under your belt. Hopefully all of our standards will be taught by Easter break. So this is just right before Easter break to give you a better chance. It's usually the math that knocks our students out just because you haven't been taught it. So we make that as late as possible. And then also the same with the 9th grade, as late as we can possibly push it to get you registered for the fall classes. Okay.
Yeah, because that is part of it too. I mean, we've got courses fill up, and we want to make sure that, we have that balance as well. Okay, same thing here. Again, these are just test dates listed, and it's just to present that information to you, knowing what your path may be, because just like Ms. Covington said, it's different depending on which path it is that you choose to do.
And just for also, this year for the first time, we're going to actually test in the middle schools. We've done Saturday testing, have had as great participation, and our principals are on board with us this year to use a class day to do that. So we're really thankful. So that's why we have a range of dates. So each each middle school will have its own testing date, and just make it a little bit more convenient and increase the participation.
Thank you. Okay. And same thing. That's for the upcoming year. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to. This is what Ms. Covington was just touching on. So what does this look like? If you do decide to take this path, there's a certain path depending on which grade. And so this goes back to also the option of if you decide to try to apply for early college. So it's just at this point having the conversation of what path you think they may want to take. And hopefully that's the conversation that you've been having. So these are just kind of what would you need to do to be able to make that happen. So if your student is a current 8th grader, then it may look like this. They would submit the score to myself or Ms. Stevens or Ms. Covington by October 9th, so we're looking into the new semester, for spring enrollment. No freshman will take RCC classes first semester. Okay, there's courses that you have to take before that. They're the prerequisite. They will be enrolled in Math 2 and English 1 in first semester. So that would be you would have those 2 courses the first semester of your 9th grade year. And then you would take in the spring those 2 college and career classes Monday through Friday first block. Okay.
And we do have until October to get 8th graders registered.
But knowing that if you have a whole summer off of not getting math, you're going to have a less likely chance. And then also us not getting rolling in school until September and having to have the scores back by that date is just really, really tough to do that. This we'll talk about a little bit more about giving you a window for second and third chances between April and October.
Yeah, because it's not a no-go if it doesn't happen. Then you have other options to go ahead and get in these courses earlier. Okay? So if you're a current 9th grader, what can this look like for you? And so this would be in your 10th grade year. Again, making sure those scores were submitted because we want to make sure that you're going to be able to do June 13th for fall enrollment and October 9th for spring enrollment. And then this is the possibility of what it could look like in fall and spring. Okay? So know that when you're thinking about this, if for some reason in 9th grade it doesn't quite work out, whatever it is, like she said, with testing because of the math or whatever it is, you still have the option to take advanced courses and earlier courses in grade 10. Okay? And again, we'll answer any question you have about that. I know this is a lot of new information.
Yeah, so no freshman will take RCC classes first semester. So is that like general studies? That would be totally skipped and go right into Math 2 and English 1?
Well, those are the maths that they would, or that's English 1 is the English that you take in 9th grade as a freshman. So you would go ahead and get that out of the way. And then same thing for Math 2. Yeah. And so they would, normally it's a 4x4. So normally they would have those 2 and then sometimes it's like a CTE course or something along those lines in the fall. In the spring, instead of 2 courses at the high school, you would have 2 courses here.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah. Good question. Very good? Okay. Okay. And again, so this kind of answers just what we were talking about. This is what it could look like. This is a tentative course plan depending on which path it is you take, and you can see that it's color-coded over here to the side. Okay? So if you were going to be able to start taking these courses in 9th grade, it would be in the spring because you have to get those 2, English 1 and Math 2, you have to get those taken care of, okay? And then, so it might look like that, right? But if you're a 10th grader, then you're going to be able to make sure, and I love that, this is really smart too, these classes where it says 6 classes prior to 11th grade, 4 classes prior to 11th grade, and 2 classes prior to 11th grade. That's kind of the step ahead you're getting of somebody who doesn't have the opportunity to do this earlier. So you're kind of checking that off. Anything else? Make sure I'm not missing any points. Okay. Okay. So this is always a question we get asked, right? What path are we going to think about here? Do you want to try early college, or are you going to take advantage of these CCP classes? And I don't know that there is a right or wrong path here. It just depends on, again, what your goal is and what you're thinking about over those 4-year plans, which I know you guys have been working on thinking about that. Which it's hard. Like, you're in 8th grade. Why do I need to know what I'm going to be doing as a senior? But that's how much planning it takes to be able to get on top of this and make sure you're taking advantage of everything you can. So what would this look like if I was going to be just a CCP student, meaning I took half of my classes at Richmond normally and half of my classes out here normally is kind of how that shakes out. So if you decide to do that path, then you can still participate in your CTE pathways. So if you're thinking about something in the medical field, or you're thinking about something with technology, or you're thinking about something hands-on, like you want to do something along those lines, then you can still participate in those, okay? A lot of those people graduate with credentials that allow them to start work pretty closely out of being out of school. So you have an option of earning an associate's degree, and it may require some summer coursework. If you decide to apply and then get accepted into our early college, then you do not participate in the CCP courses, but you have the option of earning an associate's degree, and you do not take the CTE pathway courses. Okay? It's because normally what happens, and tell me if I'm right on this, by the time they're done with their, is it 10th grade year? They're almost completely in college courses?
Yeah, 11th grade they have one high school, 11th grade they have one high school class, 12th grade they have one high school class for Reach.
Okay. And then the rest of the time they're enrolled completely in the RCC courses. Okay. So again, it's whatever path they envision there. So again, this note at the bottom is important. If they're interested in Reach, then we advise that you still apply, but go ahead and get registered for that pre-ACT in case you're not accepted for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because it just depends on the candidate pool that for this year. Go ahead.
I wanted to add one thing, just to throw another option out for you. So you obviously can choose where they're Reach. You can choose Reach, or you can choose the early career and college promise. But I want to throw out another option for you that 2 of my students right now are taking advantage of, and it's free to North Carolinians. If I have several students who are interested in the School of Science and Math, and that's a conversation for later, but as your junior year. But they do offer synchronous courses that students can take advantage of that we don't have available here. For example, I have a student who was doing nuclear engineering. I've sent all the course loads that are available out on a Canvas course for my students. And so they have so many, but the caveat is it has to fit with their schedule because it is a synchronized course with the School of Science and Math. And so I tell my students, if you're interested in attending the School of Science and Math, which parents, that means you get free admission to any tuition free for 4 years to any University of North Carolina public school system, and that's guaranteed admission. And so that's a conversation for later, for junior year, but I do have some students right now who are taking advantage of summer opportunities they offer and these courses that we just don't have available in Richmond County, but they do have a plethora of courses that are available to our students free of charge. And if you're interested in that, I can reach out and talk to you more extensively later.
Yep, and that's, again, all part of that advising process because not everybody, it doesn't always fit, like she said, with your schedule because it is scheduled at a certain time, right? Okay. I feel like I'm like hosting a game show. All this walking around. Okay, so these are just a few, we're coming to the end here. These are just a few miscellaneous things to think about and that you have options to because of being a part of this program. So I will note just a little bit about AP courses. Again, when you're thinking about planning over the next 4 years, it is that direct course-to-course transfer. So the only time I think it runs into a little bit of problem with taking a course sometimes at the community college that isn't necessarily course-to-course transfer is a lot of times with our private universities, it doesn't always transfer like English for English or that kind of thing. So sometimes it counts as an elective. But all AP courses do transfer that way if you pass the test. Okay, you had a few things you wanted to add? All right.
Okay, so they said all the great things, and this is a great opportunity. If you were invited to this, that means your child is the top of the top. I mean, they're an AIG. They've qualified in some other way to do this. And I know, like you said, it saves you money. So I'm going to do the flip side because it's real. So essentially, what you're doing, whether you're going to do REACH or CCP, if some of you are wanting to do REACH, you're going to college at 14 or 15 years old. You're taking college classes at 14 or 15 years old. You're in college classes with, typically most of them are teenagers because half of our enrollment out here is high school students between dual enrollment and CCP, and early college. So I'm over all of that for Richmond and Scotland County. Reach, dual enrollment, all of that, okay? And we have a lot of people that work individually with the students. However, what I see a lot is the maturity to go into a college class, because this is not high school, guys, whatsoever, not even close. The mentality that you as a parent know your child. The teenagers think, oh, I can do it. I'm not saying they can't do it, but you also know your child. You know if they have the discipline and the dedication to put in it. Because this is not, I'm going to remind you to do your homework 10 times. This is, you're assigned this homework, and I don't ask you when you walk in class, like, do you have your homework? Don't forget you have this. If you don't remember it, you get a 0. It is college classes. I cannot stress that enough. And I have parents that will call me and say, do they not realize that this is a high school student? And I will say, do you realize I told you this was a college class? It's a college class. Just because high school students are in it, we cannot dumb down or change the requirements for a college class. And I stress that because I hear it so many times. Well, my baby and I'm sorry. It is the requirement. No, we start you out with I don't even want to say easier, because I don't think there is a college class that is easy, but we start you out with less rigorous college classes. Less rigorous, not easy. And what she said, where you're taking classes for dual credit, foreign languages with the college count as your foreign languages for high school. Fourth math count as your college credit and your fourth math. I mean, there are things that count dually. So you don't get the option with Reach, you don't take AP classes, because every single thing you take gives you AP credit weight. Because your college classes are all AP credit weight. That makes sense. If you're taking college transfer classes, you're getting AP credit weight, whether you're at Reach or whether you're doing dual enrollment. Another thing I want you to think about, I don't think I've had a student yet that started as a 9th or 10th grader that did not finish their associate degree. So that is great. You're saving all this money for your first 2 years. Where it's not great is if you don't know what you want to do. Because when you graduate with that associate's degree, you don't go off to the university and get to take general education classes. Because guess what? You have to declare your major. You're done. There's no exploratory there. You have finished it here. I just want to be very real with everybody. You have to declare your major. There's no other option. You graduate with your associate's degree, you have to declare that major at 18 years old for where you're going to the university. I just want you all to think about all that. This is a great opportunity. I just want you to be aware. I've had students who have said, I don't know what I want to do. Well, you got to pick something. Parent pushed them to get that 2-year degree, and I understand it saved. My second one's about to start college. I'm already broke from the first one that just graduated in December. I get it. Like, about to do it again. It's awful. I didn't let her get her associate's degree because she did not know what she wanted to do. And if I made her choose that degree, there's a 90% chance we were going to spend a year taking classes and she didn't like it, and we're already adding another year. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? There are benefits, a million benefits. What I'm trying to tell you is don't push them. They're still teenagers, y'all. They're still teenagers. They're still high school students. It's a lot of pressure on a 9th grader taking college classes. It's not just, I want you to think, yes, this is going to save me money. That's a lot on their little shoulders. Because to the college teachers, it doesn't matter how old they are. They're teaching a college-level class. I know that everybody in here can handle that, or you wouldn't be sitting in here. I just want parents to be aware of it. You also, parents don't have access to look at their grades. You don't get all that. You don't get all that for college. Now, your child has all that, and you can get their password. And that's why I tell everybody, you say, how are you doing in your classes? And they say, I don't know. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you just tell them to pull it up so you can look at whatever y'all have, whatever y'all have now. Like, kids have that for college, but parents don't get that. So you're coming to college classes, and there's those FERPA laws. There's a lot of hoops we have to jump through. I'll be your point of contact. You can't call the instructor and say, I want to know how they're doing, or can I tell you that they wake up with a stomach bug and they can't come to school? That parent's going to say, why are you calling me? You know, parents don't call college teachers. But I will be that point of contact for you. I just want you to understand. I know it sounds good with the money and the credits and all this. I want you to know the opposite side of it. Not trying to scare you, but I just want you to know the reality of it. Is there anything else that... Do y'all have questions for me about college classes? Oh, that was great. I must explain it really well.
Okay, and so, yeah, 100% everything that she's letting you know. I mean, again, that's why I said that you want to make sure you really have this conversation and really think about what these next 4 years are going to look like. And that's hard. I taught 8th grade, and I remember they all either wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a veterinarian. And I was like, you know, I think about 3% of people who apply for veterinarian school or something. You know, it's just, we have to broaden that. We have to think past that, what ultimately is your goal. And I think that's what she was speaking to. What do you want to have by the end of this 4 years? And there are advantages.
You're starting that college, that's another thing. You're starting that college transcript. You don't get redos and do-overs. Once that college transcript starts, if you're not doing well, you'll get to say, I take it back. I don't want to do it anymore. You got to finish and get that grade. So it's just remember that.
Yep. It's all part of that conversation about, again, what's the goal? What do you want to attain from this? And at this point, it's time to start. And this is hard for parents. We have to start trusting them a little bit and knowing what they want and thinking, listening to their opinion on things. And that's hard. That's hard because we've just kept them in our little nest and petted their little heads. We can't do that now. Okay? All right, let's open the floor. Anything, questions, concerns? Oh, Ms. Stevens has one more.
And this PowerPoint and this presentation will be uploaded to the Career College Promise campus page that your student has access to, as well as some study resources for the pre-ACT, SAT, ACT, pertinent dates. All of that, everything that you've heard tonight, and then some can be found on that canvas course.
And that's what I was going to mention. On that Canvas course, we do have practice tests. I've been trying to show everybody where they're at, and you can find them so you can see what you're getting into. And I really encourage you to go ahead and sign up for this pre-ACT. It is only $20. Go through it. You may not be successful the first round, but we all know, as we've taken our college entrance exams, every time you take it, you do a little bit better, right? So for $20, go ahead and take that test instead of paying $70 for the full ACT or SAT. So when you do actually apply for a college, you're going to be a little bit ahead of that. But we do have those resources available. And also do know that as a 9th grader, we don't have a lot who really qualify. So don't be down on yourself if you don't make it the first round. It is tough because there's a little bit of Algebra 2, Math 2 on that, as well as Math 1. You have not had Math 2. There's grammar, extensive grammar that is taught in 9th grade that you have not had. So don't be disappointed in yourself if you don't make it the first round. You can keep, if you're close, we'll run you through the RichCC testing program. Next step will be looking at the SAT. We'll walk you through that. We'll tell you how close you are and what your next steps are. And you just keep trying until you get in. If you don't get in until your second semester of your sophomore year, that is fine. That's 2 classes above everybody else. Okay? So, good.
But just to be clear, and I tell my students this all the time, don't get discouraged if you take that pre-ACT. And for example, let's say you meet the qualifying score in math. We will look at reading, math, and English. That's the three subject areas on any of these different tests. But if, let's say, when you take the pre-ACT with Sharon, and then you will, if you get the math score, that you need, that's locked in. So you don't have to, when you take, but you fall short in English and reading. When you go to take the next test, let's say you opt in, your parents schedule you take that SAT, because you didn't get all the 3 scores that you needed, you take the SAT. Well, you're going to take the math, but you still get to keep that initial score where you met the qualifier, if that makes sense. So, we've had,
Yeah, so a lot of people play that game with, you know, I'm gonna, on this time I'm gonna work really hard on math because that's my strong suit and I know I'm gonna knock this one out of the park. And then the next time you take it, you know, in between tests, I'm gonna work really hard on the grammar part because the commas and you don't get along, right? So it's almost a game of trying to figure out, you know, how that person. Yeah, you can piecemeal,
Get
yeah.
that final score that you need.
Right. Okay. Questions? And don't worry if you don't have them right now. You can always email any of us and reach out.
You have to apply to RCC to do CCP.
You have to apply to RCC to do CCP.
Yes.
Do you have to apply? Yes, but it's about a 5-minute process. It's a very simple, probably under 5 minutes.
It's easy.
And again, you'll have support with all of that.
It's a good question.
Yep.
Transportation is provided, it's free if you need transportation. I don't think we talked about that. You can actually get dropped off at the college and then have a bus, if you go to Night Break or Richmond, a bus will transport you back, or sometimes if you have a friend who's leaving, they catch rides with their friends, but all of that, the books, everything is free for you, so.
Yeah, so CCP is Career and College Promise, and under that umbrella is dual enrollment and early college. And dual enrollment is what we're talking about now. Typically, kids start 11th grade, 12th grade, they just have that new legislation and pass for qualifications for 9th and 10th grade.
Yeah, everybody will be able to take advantage of this as a junior, as an 11th grade student.
If you have a certain GPA.
Right. And so everybody is that identification, and if you take the test, because we said you had to be identified in reading and math, and if you're here in this audience and you're thinking, I'm only identified in reading, if you take that pre-ACT with us and you get the scores, we will change your area of identification to accommodate that so you can participate. Which is a very long way of me saying if you're not reading in math, but you get the scores you need, it will be taken care of. Right.
Well, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. We're happy to find the answer if we don't know, and we will be happy to support your student in any way we can moving forward. And thank you so much for coming tonight.